Those of us who've been watching the racing in Barcelona on screens for the first time got to see what others have been saying for weeks. With the breeze in the southwest, the right-hand side of the beat pays pretty much every time. And today's racing proved that. In every race, the favoured side of the course was on the right-hand side. What set things apart was how teams got there. After a pre-start in which there was little engagement, the last 15 seconds saw American Magic make the best start. At full speed and to leeward of Alinghi Red Bull Racing, the Americans had clear air and speed, while the Swiss were in the dirty air aft and to windward of the Americans. It was not somewhere they could live for long, and after a few seconds the Swiss tacked off. And while Alinghi were heading to the favoured side of the course, the Americans followed shortly afterwards. By the time they met once again, American Magic was ahead. Defending the right-hand side of the course saw their lead extend, and this continued on every leg with a timing sheet at each mark rounding that illustrated their dominant performance. 12, 15, 31, 36, 46 and 56 seconds ahead.
No, it was really good to get off the line in such good shape. The guys did a really good job getting us in position, really nice launch, and then we did a good job of controlling the race from there, so really pleased with the performance that last race.
We just really focused on try to sail our boat as fast as possible and then just wait for a mistake, but I think it was good training, and you cannot win all the races.
Ineos Britannia versus Emirates Team New Zealand. This was an aggressive pre-start from the off. Ineos entered the start box and crossed the Kiwis to head to the right-hand side. And then the action got going as the pair locked horns, pulling off big move after big move. But this was a dance that was taking its toll, especially in the last few seconds, when the British fell off their foils in the final tack for the line. This opened the door for the Kiwis, who made a clean start at speed. Fair play, they'd matched the manoeuvres and managed the cost. From there on, they were never challenged. There were, however, some positives to take for the Brits. Although they trailed by 50 seconds at the top on the second lap, they didn't lose any more distance over the next 3 legs. If the Kiwis have been sailing at full speed, the Brits were pacing them. Ben, let's talk about that start. That was quite an aggressive start, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a good one. I mean, obviously it's a shame that we made a bit of a hash at a double tack. The Kiwis did a really nice job, much better manoeuvre, and that's what really got them in the position to get us off the foils. So shame, because missed opportunity to have a crack at the defender in decent conditions and really see how we line up pace-wise. But you know, we've got to learn from that, make sure we execute those manoeuvres better as we go into next week.
When you say you came off the foils, did you run out of power? I mean, I wondered whether you were pretty aggressive in your manoeuvres and whether there just wasn't any more juice in the tank.
Yeah, I think we need to look back. I've only just got off the water. We actually spent the last hour and a half practicing that very manoeuvre, funnily enough. So yeah, we've got to look at it and analyse where it went wrong. You know, was it power? Was it easing too much sheet? When we lift and drop the board, there's so many nuances there. Clearly, the Kiwis did a much better job of it, and we'll certainly be looking at what they did better. And like I say, trying to iron that out for next week.
I mean, on the face of it, if you just look at the results, it's another loss. That's the bottom line. Do you take any other positives out of it? I mean, you weren't able to get anywhere near them, but you didn't seem to lose any distance on them.
Yeah, I think, I haven't looked at the deltas, but from what the coaches were saying, we were losing a little bit upwind. Interesting, we had a different headsail selection to them. I'd say they were on the right headsail, number 3 headsail, and we were on R2. And difference between when we made the headsail choice and actually racing, the wind went up or not, we thought it was going to drop. So that's our bad, and that certainly wouldn't have helped us. But yeah, I mean, not discouraging in terms of the performance. Clearly, we've got to iron out these double tacks.
Nathan, that start was pretty with the Brits. That was pretty interesting. Give us your take on it. Were you on top of them, or were they on top of you?
It's hard to know. In the pre-starts box is quite small here compared to, I think, the last America's Cup. And with the boats being so much more manoeuvrable, you see a lot more antics in the pre-start, which I think we were all expecting. But the British were entering on port, did the 360. Clearly they thought they were going to struggle to kill the time, so we let it out, and the next minute they're jumping us on what we thought was an early time, so we were pushing them back. And then they went for a double tack, and we weren't quite expecting that, but when they rolled, we saw an opportunity to go with them and try and get them off the foil, and it's the split-second decisions there that you get it right and you look like a hero, but if we miss time any of that also, they go back around our bow and they win the start. So I think this America's Cup's going to come down to more starts like that as people get more and more aggressive, but it was fun to be involved in that one, and it was nice for it to go our way.
The pre-start between American Magic and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli looked tame for the first minute and a half. Until, that is, the Americans decided to put the pressure on. At 23 seconds to go, they tried to swoop underneath Luna Rossa to get control, but the Italians were having none of it, and not only defended well, but managed to pin the Americans above the line. As the gun went, American Magic was OCS, OnCourse side.
This is the umpires for the USA.
For the rest of the race, the Italians led by around 17 to 20 seconds, before finishing 40 seconds ahead. An impressive performance and an illustration of just how important the start is, especially when the right-hand side of the beat was the only way to go.
Was that the first time we've been OCS and an AC37?
Oh, we've had plenty of those in the practice stuff, but it's really, really exciting to get this opportunity to do some proper pre-starts with the other teams where it matters.
It's early days. We've only had 2 days of official racing, but it does seem maybe one of the takeaways already is that the match racing that people said wasn't going to be possible with foiling boats of this size is very much on.
Oh, these boats are incredibly manoeuvrable, and it is like traditional match racing. You see people doing circles, you see people doing ducks and hooks and double tacks. Like it's awesome, and I think it's going to be a real spectacle to watch.
The final race of the day between the French and the Kiwis was a non-starter, as Orient Express Racing Team retired with technical problems before the start. The Kiwis just needed to start to gain a point, which they did. So if this race tells us anything, it's that reliability can lose you the race as easily as a poor start. The breeze was lighter, the sea stayed flatter, and the performances in general were slicker. So what have we learnt? The Italians are indeed slick, American Magic has pace, the Brits are aggressive in their boat handling, and the Kiwis are the most polished act of them all. See you tomorrow.